Welcome to South Harmon. Welcome to South Harmon. Hey, welcome to South Harmon. We glad you here today. Another AMA. Ask me anything. Super chat is cool if you wanna pay to play. Like and subscribe, that's what we really appreciate. Let me introduce you to the tear down king. Mike McNutted, ask your questions, he'll answer anything. ATM, you know I don't put them graphics on the screen. Glad you tapped in now, stay tapped in for the team. Hey, everything is posted. Go follow the socials. South Harmon FF tag us if we get noticed. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today. Another AMA. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today.
What's good, everybody? Wednesday night AMA. We are back. Get ready to get fucked up. It's Corey Schumer's birthday. Shout out to the big homie. The big homie. You know what he's probably doing right now? Drinking. Who would have guessed?
Well, the comments already say so. You know what's crazy is I randomly, Mike, literally randomly, sent him a text early as hell this morning, like, love you, buddy. Just random as hell. Yeah. Still to this moment, didn't know it was his birthday. So happy birthday, buddy. Happy birthday.
I bet he played some golf today. Just going on a whim.
Well, I'll tell you this. If he did not, I can rest assured he will make up for it tomorrow by the entire day, you know?
Every day this weekend. Every single one of them. We'll get
I'm
some
pretty
golf
sure
selfies.
I'm sure he played today, but if you're wondering if he didn't, I would venture to say, don't worry in the big picture.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got in here. We got a bunch of people here. Yeah. What's that?
It's a good time today. I got a couple throwback hats showed up.
Nice.
Can't tell on this one, right? Because I prefer to wear my hats backwards. Just my style, but it's an old school Eagles.
Okay.
Like mid to early 90s logo. Let's go. And the creamsicle Tampa Bay Buccaneers one. I saw that one on Amazon.
That's awesome. I'm rocking DK, Mike. I just got it in, but
old school Seattle.
Well, but I just realized. You know what I just realized? The amount of jerseys I have now that are number 14, kind of crazy.
Got a lot of 14.
Well, I got a Godwin creamsicle. I had to. I've been trying to, but large is just not. Apparently, that jersey got hot all of a sudden. It's like Godwin's been doing well or something, you know. Finally got it.
Second Seattle throwback jersey you own too. Same color.
Well, yeah, I got Noah Fant. I got Noah's.
Yeah,
I got Noah's. You know, don't sleep.
I can do it. You get Gino next.
If I get another one, it would be Kenneth, but it won't be. It will not be Gino. I can tell you that.
Is it K-Dub the third or is it K9?
I like to say it like it's, you know, like we're going to get wings, KW3s, you know, but
KW3s.
But hey, I'm pretty sure
team K9 till I die.
I heard that. I know it's a very big. I think K9 is what the majority lean in our Discord, but I heard it was a big to do a little bit ago.
Yeah, who knew? Who knew that would be a hot topic? K9 or K-Dub the third?
Oh, I did. We find a way at South Harmon to make a hot topic out of anything.
Like the store, you know,
what's
from the 2000s.
What's going on with you today, buddy? You are, I mean, as always, in a chipper mood. So what's on your mind right now, dynasty wise, other than getting fucked up? Let's say that.
Me and Maddie last night, late after the hurdle, Tuesday nights. For those of you who don't know, Maddie, Cody, Tuesday nights. That's the place to be. Got to tap into the boys. They went through their power rankings. But after the show, me and Maddie, instead of solo videos from each of us this week, we got a duo. Me and Maddie linked up. So I was going through warp buys and sells at them. And we kept it short, you know, for the people. Get it straight to the point.
I actually got
the list could have been much, much bigger. There was a lot of dudes we didn't touch on that I was like, oh, my God. Through 4 weeks, this warp is very, very interesting.
Warp is I think it's what's interesting, at least to me, is there's so many different league formats and scoring when I look at Warp. But yeah, it's I'd say Warp's eye opening at the moment right now, buddy. Like, it's really eye opening to me.
Not what I had on my bingo card. through 4 weeks for the 2024 season. Let's just say that. What the fuck is going on here?
I will say there were some things about it that I had on my bingo card, Mike, but at the same time, I think what you should find out, and if you don't find this out 4 weeks in, you're just fucking lying. Like, every time we think we know everything, we predict everything, Mike, guess what happens? 2, 3, 4, 10, 20 million things come our way that fucking no one could have predicted. I mean, even if,
we're a bunch of Jon Snows, we know nothing.
For example, like, I know this offseason was a big quarterback value discussion point, but even if you hated quarterbacks, like to the fullest, nobody saw the quarterback position doing this poorly this early as a whole. I don't care what you say. There's no way to predict that.
Nope.
The only ones that do matter, though, Mike, are a specific type of quarterback, which part we had on our bingo card.
Weird.
Shocking.
And Baker Mayfield.
Well, don't forget Sam Darnold, too, right up there, you know?
It's true. The two guys that we had
Hey, Corey, sorry to keep you. Hopefully going jersey for jersey. Yeah, listen, Fizz, I'm ready, buddy. I'm ready for the jersey for jersey. Mike's got all the jerseys on or in his background, by the way. So if you're interested in getting some signed jerseys, ones that you're not wearing, make sure you go check out Signed Shit. SH.IT.
Autographs. One of the cool things about Warp that Nico Collins, I issued him a public apology on the recap show. If you're not tapping into that on Sunday night, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with you. Public apology to Nico, and Nico has been balling out of his mind. But his teammate, Stephon Diggs, a top 12 Warp option in most leagues. Very, very interesting. I did not think that CJ Stroud was going to support two super elite guys, but here we are. Alas, it has been at the dismay of all that Tank Dell, because I wanted Tank Dell because he was the cheapest option in the offseason. Now that looks like shit. Looks terrible.
Mike, I definitely think that, I could have predicted two for sure. But who would have predicted, to me, Mike, who would have predicted that, like, which two? That would have been tough. I would have said Nico for sure. But picking between the Diggs and Dell.
Two dudes in the top 6 though? Like at the wide receiver position?
Of course not. I would not have told someone, hey, they are going to have two top 6. Like, if you told me they had two top 12 or top 15 though, that wouldn't have been surprising to me. But top 6 is crazy. I mean, it is only 4 weeks, but at the same time, I mean, it's top 6. That's Stephon Diggs. I think it was the stat was 9 air yards in week 1, Mike. But who cares? Because when you look at this, the air yards are not a problem. But I'm kind of curious for you. Like, I want to do this would you rather, kind of pulsing where people really are on these players in particular, like going through a lot of top 100 options, because I know it's only 4 weeks, but Mike, 4 weeks is a lot. Like, I hate to tell you, but at this point, if you were 4-0 or 0-4, your fates are picked for you. Like, if you didn't think you were going to be 4-0, it's time to figure out life. Like, how do we contend now? Most people are the other way around, though. Most people are the other way around.
That's a great problem to have. Like, it's kind of like finding money in the street. You find a band laying in the street. You're like, oh, I didn't expect this, but this is nice. And nobody goes, oh, look at all the pain I have to go through thinking about what I'm going to do with this extra $1,000 I just found.
You might be surprised. I've gotten questions.
$1,000.
Would you? I've gotten questions. I'm 4-0. Team's doing better than I thought. Would you try to contend at this point? Well, I mean, unless your team's absolute dog shit and you're playing the worst scoring team every week. I mean, I think you certainly consider it. You're 4-0. I mean.
There might be time to go.
I mean, yeah, unless your team's like absolutely terrible, or you just got you're 4-0 with the onslaught of injuries you actually have now at this point is
which could be
unsustainable,
right? Like, you sneak through to 4-0, and now it doesn't.
At what cost? Good. Yeah. Outside of those scenarios, though, buddy, I think you go for it. But anyway, 4 weeks in, like there's a ton of. I think every year it's easy to be like, oh, this is too much. People are overreacting. That's probably easy to say, but at the same time, like I genuinely think this year, 4 weeks in, this is going to be easily as much movement as I will consider 4 weeks in ever in Dynasty. It seems like everything has shifted, honestly.
Time to not overreact. Let's just
react, think, talk. What? Tell me.
Yeah, we're just going to react. We're not going to overreact. We're just going to react.
Okay. I can do that. I can react.
Yeah, no overreactions here. We'll be fine. You can't call it overreactions. We're 4 weeks in.
That's what it's like. That's what it's like Friday morning at the shit house. Wake up and find money laying around. I mean, to be fair, he makes a good point. He makes a point.
It's happened a couple years in a row now, where there's just hundreds of dollars that miraculously appears the next day.
It certainly's happened. Okay, Mike. Wow. So I put on the thumbnail. Now, I think they're just the two. These. It wasn't meant to be. I think the thumbnail, as I look at it now, is like, oh, who would you rather? These are the two lottery tickets for those that have any questions in this class. There's 2 lottery tickets, Mike, that are inside the top 4 on Keep Trade Cut. Like, me and you being bullish on any one player or not, telling someone 4 weeks in that any of the rookies are going to be a top 4 asset in Dynasty, I would have said, no, you're fucking being an idiot. Stop it. How about 2 of them? How about 2 of them, man?
Yeah.
Here's today. All right, we'll start with Malik Nabers. I think right now there's 2. Obviously, him and Jayden Daniels at this point are taking. I think people have a hard time even discussing anything other than these 2 guys. So we got to start with them. Like Malik Nabers right now, so far 4 weeks in. Whatever expectations you had, obviously those are destroyed. Whatever potential ceiling you had for him, like if he's smashing, I would say likely destroyed. What for you? Where are you at with Malik Nabers? And then, like to me, I think the question at this point is, what actually is his floor? And at this point, realistically, on a production standpoint, week to week, should we at this point really care all that much? Obviously, other than we'd like him to score well, but to me, all I needed to see is already here in 4 weeks. Like, this dude is him. He's in the elite conversation at wide receiver, and that's just point blank. Not to mention, you could, at this point, you want to put him at wide receiver 1, 2, whatever it is, can't fight you.
Dude, I'm going to say the words that I wish I'd hear more often, you know? Like, I wish I'd hear these more often. Put him wherever you want. Wherever you want, Adam. I wish somebody would tell me that more often. You can put them wherever you want. Seriously, you can. I don't give a shit if it's 1, 2, 3, 5. Any of those are reasonable spots for
Dynasty overall players.
Yep.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
So we're in a 12-team Dynasty startup, Mike. You take him at 101, and you're not gonna like act like that. You're being ridiculous with that, right?
Nope. My process wouldn't be to take the wide receiver over the quarterback.
Sure.
But, you know, I'm not going to fucking clown anybody. We did a startup today, and somebody took him 101 in a 12-team Superflex league. I'd be like, I get it. I get it.
Well, and to the point.
Hottest fucking name out there right now. Or,
to the point.
I should say one of the hottest names out there.
For sure. To the point you just made, like, now this part, Mike, even myself, who I feel like I was about as high as on Nabers outside of someone that was just a complete stan this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
I would have absolutely verbally abused you had you told me that he's going to be a warp difference maker, an elite warp option. That's what he is right now. I mean, I don't know. That part is insane. So to me, Mike, I have him right now in a tier at wide receiver 1. So like wide receiver 1, him, CD, and Jefferson are in their own tier, and honestly, I got Marv just outside, and it's not, to me, it's not a conversation of I'm worried about Marv at all. We'll get to him in a little bit, but right now, the tradability, the name cachet, the excitement just doesn't meet the expectations, so I don't put him in the same tier. I don't know if that's wrong process, but I've always kind of felt like the market should play into it, and the market just isn't where it is with Nabers. So
yeah,
that's why I put him in a separate tier.
You're gonna be hard pressed to trade your Marv straight up for anybody's Malik Nabers at this point, right? Like, so if we're gonna talk about tiers, like that tradability's got to be a thing, right? People would be like, all right, you give me another first.
I've seen people say there is no. I've seen people literally say there's no price for Malik Nabers, or the trades that have gone down, Mike. You're giving a firstborn, secondborn child. Like that's what's happening when you're trading away Malik Nabers. So
definitely.
Speaking
the only thing I know for a fact is I still can't trade my Malik Nabers for Jayden Daniels straight up.
Really? The only reason I'm surprised by that is not because obviously no one should be surprised by your stance. Unless you're a first-time viewer, which if you are, appreciate the love. Make sure you go and hit that subscribe. You're going to have a lot of fun. You may clown us, hate both of us at times. That's what everyone does. Mike is very much of the quarterback love. The reason I say I'm surprised by that, though, Mike, is that would be a spot for you to actually diversify when you have. I mean, your exposure on Daniels is about not in a bad way, obviously, but it's outrageously high. Speaking of, let's talk J-Day.
Yeah, I mean, did anybody ever say like, I got too much
shit? I have too much Google, too much Google stock.
I don't know if you caught this, man. We kind of go off track sometimes, but the Shannon Sharp one, like, what a kick in the fucking dick, man. I hope he fired that business agent or whatever the fuck that dude was long ago.
Now, obviously, in the scale, it doesn't matter because of the payout, what that would be, okay? Hindsight 20. I will say, and he even alluded to this, he didn't mention as many, or the names. Sometimes while those guys may get in the way of you doing something like that, they might help you, not invest in a Shiba or some fucking,
That's true.
Like all of a sudden you might burn $400K, literally burn it. But anyway, Mike, Jayden Daniels for you, obviously. Yeah. So would this be your 101 right now? Were you taking him ahead of Josh Allen? I guess is my question with him straight up.
Last week we did the startup draft. I took him at 2.
A lot has changed in a week, and that sounds insane, but it's true.
A lot has changed in the week. And if you ask me today, we did that startup draft again, Adam, and I'm picking 101. It's Jayden Daniels. Yes, I am. Yes,
now, I want to make sure for the viewers. You're
still good. You're still very, very good, man. You're in the conversation, but
for the viewers or anyone that wants to know, leaning into it. I mean, Josh Allen's coming off of a dud. Tell me that's not it, please.
It's not solely it, but Jayden Daniels followed up a boom with another boom.
See, I think that's part of the problem is like, all right, Josh Allen has proven to be fucking literally him on a wide scale. And it's like he has this dud amidst the Jayden Daniels like hype train to the moon. Yeah. Which is it's just the perfect storm for chaos, more chaos. But I'm not saying I'm not saying you can't put him at 1. I'm just saying like it just happens to be the dumbest thing in the world, right?
I got the backlash from last week's episode about I seen the comments. I see your comments, people. I see them. Sometimes I just choose to ignore them. Otherwise, I'll say mean things that you won't like. But I saw the comments about proven pocket passers and fucking completions. Fantasy leagues need to award points for completions and negatives for incompletions because we can't reward just these running quarterbacks. And then Jayden Daniels goes out and he finishes the month with an 82% completion percentage, and it's like, maybe you should shut the fuck up.
Well, I mean, but my other counterpoint is, well, why can't we? I mean, that's what we've been doing. Now because quarterbacks aren't scoring that much through the air, more so than they have in the past. We need to adjust for this. Mike, I mean, sometimes the game is what it is at the time,
Hey, man, I'll still sit here and I'll defend Jalen Hurts as an actual Eagles fan and a football fan. Love the kid. Love him to death. But if I'm running an NFL franchise and I was the Eagles and the Washington called me up and be like, I'll trade you J-Day for Hurts straight up, running an NFL franchise, I'd be like, come on, Jayden.
Like, even if we just talked about it, aside from all the real aspects, like Jayden Daniels right now is on the first year of his rookie contract for the other point of that too.
That too.
Jalen Hurts is getting paid the
$1 billion.
The brass tacks, buddy. The whole Brinks truck is being paid. Jayden Daniels, while getting a nice little chunk of change, buddy, is what we call a bargain at the moment. And you got that for 4 years plus, if you want to give him a little 5th-year option. I would pray to God if he's actually doing this well in a long period, you don't franchise him. But all those things are different.
How about
you.
just from an NFL standpoint, though? Are the Washington Commanders the best team in the NFC East?
No, I'm not ready to do that. I'm ready to put a lot of Jayden Daniels love out there. I'm sorry that I didn't have you as my number one quarterback. I'm ready to put a lot of that in the ethosphere, Mike. I'm ready to talk about that. I'm not ready to say the NFC East is
runs through Washington,
not
DC.
Quite. Mike, I'm not quite. Okay, I'm not saying I can't. I won't at all. I'm just not there yet. Okay.
I'm probably gonna slowly morph into just like the biggest Commanders fan you've ever seen.
Well, that wouldn't be that would not be shocking, I think, at all.
But to ditch the green, I'm gonna take up the burgundy and yellow. And
all right, let's kind of talk about switching gears here. You're looking at a guy, Jayden Daniels, right? I mean, going into the season. By the way, Slashy. So I don't know, something about that. I just love it. The whole middle finger avatar. It fits the brand. Speaking of, let's talk about this right here. It's not popular opinion.
Who's this guy?
I don't really care if it's popular opinion or not, but like, Mike, I'll be honest with you. I know this has nothing to do with me, but it was the moment in which I traded. By the way, he's here. Chris Womble, my brother-in-law's in the league. I traded. In a best ball league, like a 4-for-1, which process-wise is terrible. But at the time, you're like, it's Patrick fucking Mahomes. It's absolutely a great trade. You get him, especially when it's Purdy and Kittle and a couple of picks, right? Oh, Mike, how much. Not only did that trade help me not win a title, but we look back and oh my gosh, what did terrible, you do? Right? I'm curious for you, like. Fantasy-wise, this has nothing to do with the quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. I need you to separate church and state for a moment, okay? Everybody out there that gets real upset, please separate fantasy and real life. I know you think they're the same, and they are for you, but believe it or not, for everyone else, it's not the same. Great quarterback, I have no worries about his future in the NFL or his wins, all that. Mike, I'm concerned that he's a name that's not actually going to produce the elite points like other elite options are in fantasy right now for a little bit. I'm not saying it will be for forever.
I can echo that sentiment. I don't think you're crazy because what have we seen? Let's just be honest. I mean, we saw a really bad last year with Tyreek Hill where we were questioning him, right? Tyreek leaves. Patrick Mahomes goes on to just dominate, right? We're like, oh, we're fucking idiots for ever doubting this man. And everybody went into last year with all those same good feelings. And for almost all of last year, we saw shitty Patrick Mahomes. Like, we saw, like, the fuck's wrong with this team? What's wrong with the Chiefs offense? Right. Now, real life NFL football, they did enough. They went on to win their back-to-back Super Bowls, and, like, everybody's out of their feels. This year we head in and we're like, okay, Rashee Rice is going to take a step forward. They draft Xavier Worthy in the first round, trading up with their arch nemesis, the Buffalo Bills, in order to do it. And through 4 weeks, Patrick Mahomes, in fantasy-wise, is QB 17, who's like almost tied with Warp with Andy Dalton, who's only played 2 fucking games. Who's only played 2 fucking games for the Carolina Panthers. So you want to panic? I fucking get it, right? Like we were sold one good year, like one good year here in the last 3, and we're like, we're all dumbasses, and now we're kind of realizing maybe this is the norm.
Well,
like,
I mean,
is this the norm?
Yeah, I mean, well, let's. It's hard, in my estimation, Mike. It is incredibly hard to understate when an option like Tyreek Hill goes away, and the concern. I mean, just rightfully so. It's Tyreek Hill.
It's valid.
Mounts. And Mahomes goes so Mahomesian, or whatever you want to call it, and just like defies the odds of his best statistical season ever. You're like, okay. The play is probably at this point to never doubt Patrick Mahomes ever again, period. Like,
yeah.
You shift to both of those. I felt like shift people to the extremes, to where it takes time to actually figure out what the norm is, and at least for the short term, while quarterbacks are just not giving you, quarterbacks are not versus NFL defenses right now. consistently outside of Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield apparently this year, giving us any type of like consistent, good enough stats to matter versus the field. That's the way it is in the short term right now. It feels pretty solidified, honestly. So,
yep.
Patrick Mahomes. Also, now the reason I bring that up, Mike, you like Xavier Worthy, you like whoever you like. They lost Rashee Rice for the year, and I mean, they won't tell you what it actually is. They need to have an MRI, all that. I got news for you. Don't get your hopes up, okay? It's done. All right.
Are you calling it?
Yeah, because Mike, if I call it and I'm wrong and I'm the asshole, that's fine. We get Rashee Rice back. I can live with that call. You know, if we bring him back from the dead because I'm an asshole, fine. But like, you saw the hit. You saw the hit.
If you get everybody's hopes up, and then it turns out that he actually is out for the year, now you're an even bigger asshole, and people definitely.
No, Mike. Now I'm canceled. Don't ever show up again. Right? Like it's over.
I get you.
Anyway, I mean, to me, Patrick Mahomes. The reason I bring that up is, you know, if you're like T-Rock and continue to fleece this new same manager in Fade the Fetal and get off of Patrick Mahomes with the old Patrick Mahomes price. If you can do that, I think it's a worthwhile trade at the moment, honestly, because on the surface, it's like, oh, dude, it's Patrick Mahomes still. But if you get someone that is interested in paying that type of price, Mike, I think I, anyway, would be of the willingness very easily to do it.
So right now, Patrick Mahomes is at his all-time low in keep trade cut dynasty position rankings.
That can't be right.
All-time low, QB5.
Of course it's right. The quarterback position as a whole is being hated on. I want people to understand this too. I really think this is a point to make. Like, Jayden Daniels, rookie start, I believe, is kind of saving face for the quarterback position more so than it. If that wasn't happening, Mike, I feel like the quarterback position panic would be even more extreme than it is right now. I'm not saying Jayden Daniels isn't doing, you know, outrageous things. He is. But if Caleb Williams and everybody else in this class that's playing or hurt is without Jayden Daniels, Mike, I feel like we got, you know, The Office fucking panic. You know, like that.
Oh my God, it's happening.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody stay calm. So
let me ask you then. I'll put your nuts on the table. What are you doing with Patrick Mahomes?
I mean, to me, I think the play is like more than anything. I think can I just split him up as an asset regardless of the league format. Honestly, I think that's an easier way to get it done.
Tear down to A-Rich in a first.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Mike. I'm to the point right now. I'm ready to be wrong. I'm ready to be hurt, and I'm ready to say the quarterback position outside of the Konami code guides don't matter enough. Like, I'm ready to go to the unsafe more so than A-Rich. I'm ready to go to Fields. I'm ready to go to Fields and have him give me like an actual like legitimate dynasty asset too. I'll take all the risk. If Fields doesn't fucking come out, that's fine. If he does, this is great. His WARP right now is better than Patrick Mahomes based on 1 week last week. But Mike, you go that far down, you'll get a player and you can get a skill player that's like actually got his own dynasty set of values. Now, you tell
Fields
someone
and DK Metcalf.
That's actually what I was just gonna say. Mike, if you tell somebody they're going to take Fields and DK Metcalf 6 months ago for Patrick Mahomes,
you're an idiot.
You literally are the dynasty woke. Go away from us. We want you to move on. Oh yeah.
We roasted about a trade show then. Oh my God.
And here's the thing. We have been wrong. We've been wrong in the past. We've been wrong in the future. I've been there. I've seen it. And Mike, we'll be wrong again. But that one, I'm willing to do at this point.
Would you rather, since we're going to play that game, Patrick Mahomes or Jordan Love?
Sure. I don't really pick I think it's the same. Like that type of quarterback to me, short term, you want to pick Jordan Love. You think the offense is going to be, humming more. Fine. But to me, it's the same style quarterback, and Patrick Mahomes definitely has the name cachet. So I would stay probably Mahomes, I guess. But I'm not looking to. What I don't want to do is try to go down an irrelevant size tier to pick up nothing here in a trade like that. I want to get out of the Mahomes business. I know this is maybe I'm overreactionary. Maybe I'm just a terrible everything.
You're
honestly.
selling State Farm.
I think right now I think people are already starting to get to the point of sensing this, and I want to be before everybody senses it, before all my options have been depleted. Can I find one? Can I find two? You know.
I can't believe we're having this fucking conversation.
Speaking of which, it makes me really think that it's time to ask about a different person, because I feel like speaking this ill of Mahomes has its consequences. Let's completely pivot, Mike. Let's go to the running back position. What about this guy?
Yeah, that's my dude right there. K9.
I'll tell you one thing about this year, though, that's actually really interesting was well, based on how he played versus the defense like that versus the running backs. I mean, just stop it. That was a absolute mission of a performance. One thing I will say, though, this Seattle offense, Mike, is right now, to me, fantasy-wise, holy shit, buddy, this is awesome. Like, because Kenneth Walker came back and put the Charbonnet conversation to bed. And while that was true, Charbonnet, at least the week prior, absolutely ate in fantasy football. So, like,
yeah, he did.
And the receivers, while outside of DK, it's been inconsistent with the targets. Dude, this is an offense that you no longer are a little bit worried about how many can be supported. This feels like an offense that is hyper. It's just a really good offense. You want to have, I think, maybe 3 to 4 pieces on potentially weekly. Like it's humming. It's humming.
So not a 1-for-1 comp, and I'll age myself here just a little bit, Adam. But this Kenneth Walker Charbonnet debate that we have really takes me back to the LaDainian Tomlinson, Michael Turner kind of debate.
I really like that pool and call. Absolutely.
When LT was out and Michael Turner was getting the work, you're like, this is that dude. Like, this dude is good. But then LT comes back and reminds you why he's number one.
K. Walker is not anywhere near an
opportunity somewhere else.
He's not LT. I love him. He's not LT. I know you weren't, but I feel like people might have misconstrued. I just wanted to put that out there.
It's that same kind of situation, though, where, like, if something happens to Kenneth Walker in the long term, Charbonnet has proven me wrong. He's proven a lot of people wrong. Like, I kind of always liked him, but then the Kenneth Walker thing was always there, and then, at times he didn't look the greatest. This year, he looks really good when he's getting those opportunities. The problem is Kenneth Walker is just that much better. So,
no, I mean, I think you and I both actually liked him as a prospect personally. Yeah. I know I did. Like, I thought he had good pass catching prowess, could be 3 down, but it's like you had to. Why did you do this to us? Like, you could have picked all these other spots.
You know what he reminds me? He reminds me of a young James Conner, like in the play style.
I think Sharps is actually a good backup, but I also just think Kenneth Walker, especially as a runner, I'm not saying doesn't have pass catching ability, but as a runner, I'll put him up there. Like, I'll put him in that conversation. He's a absolutely
we use this
great
term to
besmirch
running backs. We just use this term to besmirch running backs sometimes. But is he the best pure runner of the football?
No, I mean,
the
honestly,
Nick Chubb label.
Like slasher in between the tackles. This dude is
stupid good,
very underrated. And I honestly, I don't know. I feel like I look every now and again at some comments about people's. Where they're at about my comments. I feel like I've actually always been, as far as the player goes, the analysis of the player himself, pretty high. There's been definitely times in fantasy I don't love his role in the past offenses, and then also not getting pass catching work like I would like to. But I also didn't. I'll be honest, I didn't see 3 touchdown game coming versus Detroit. That was a fucking man of a performance. It is only 1 week, but Mike, I'm just curious with him up here now, the running back position, the way we value it, seeing that off of an injury where he missed 2 weeks, you're wondering like how much of the workload he's going to take. He came back and put a lot of shit to bed quick. How high should he go? What's a mistake versus reacting to 1 game realistically for you here?
Top 4
dynasty running back.
Top 4 dynasty running back.
Well, I can tell you have passed a lot of people's overreactionary card and label, and I'm not telling you can't. I'm just
This was one of the things that I was very interested
Top
to see.
four
coming into
is
the
spicy
season.
though, even for
Love.
Love.
This was one of the things I was very interested in seeing.
Damn.
Because I watched so much Washington football last year with Grubb, and like how we broke down a lot of film because there was a lot of other good prospects we wanted to watch. Right, we wanted to watch Michael Penix. We wanted to watch Jalen McMillan. We want to watch Roma Dunze, Jalen Polk. Like we want to watch all these guys. And we're watching film, and it was ridiculous how efficient this kind of shitty running back that nobody really knew about, Dylan Johnson, was in this offense. You're like, man, nice lane there. And all he's got to do is make like one move. Oh, this is good. You now have an NFL offense where they have the receivers, and Grubb is doing a great job getting the receivers involved, especially DK Metcalf and JSN to an extent, and Noah Fant occasionally. And Geno Smith's doing his job at quarterback, Michael Penix-esque, like being the point guard. But again, you have a running back who, Kenneth Walker, is 75 times more talented than Dylan Johnson ever was. And you're seeing those massive holes and those schemes opening up for when it was Dylan Johnson, Adam, that was like an 8-yard run. You're like, oh, nice run. Keep the chains moving. We're really establishing the run here to go with our pass. And now you're seeing Kenneth Walker when he does it is that 8-yard run becomes a 50-yard run. That 8-yard run becomes a 25-yard gash. And you're like, oh my fucking God. And then the runs, like on Monday night, it was so awesome to see that goal line run too. Just completely bottled up, terrible blocking. And to bounce it all the way.
That's the one.
Run the wheel.
Yeah.
And completely just dust. Like he eliminated angles, and you're like, that's something that only a few running backs in the league can actually do.
Right, but I think that was the run that in that game it was already like obviously things are going his way. But then like that's the type of run where you're like, oh, amidst having a great game too. Oh, okay, that was you don't have to know football, Mike, to know that he made a Superman play right there. Like, Superman. That's he put an S on his chest, buddy. Like, say what you want. That's a lot of times players that try to make plays like that, and you have to every now and again, right? The play gets blown up, whatever. They end up. I don't know if you saw DeAndre Swift a few weeks ago before the great game he had, going out left trying to make a play. I mean, he ends up losing 7-8 yards. You're like,
maybe don't do that no more.
Damn it, DeAndre, you're absolutely fucking killing me here, buddy. Like.
This isn't your second year in Detroit, buddy. Like, I don't know if this is in your bag anymore.
God damn it, dude. Like, how many times you think you're gonna him this situation and it looks like this? But I guess the point is, it was an unbelievable game. I think it definitely put out there for people to see on primetime too, which I don't think most people don't get to see a lot of Seattle Seahawks football, right? That he has a lot of talent. 4, I think definitely though is going to rub some. It's going to get people certainly awake, certainly listening, certainly whatever's going on, they're paying attention.
There's a certain running back. So when this video drops on Friday,
I just want to hear real quick, like, so Bijan, Breece, Gibbs, is that it? Barkley, who is out of that mix? Who of those 4? Who is not 4? Bijan, Breece, Gibbs, quads. Which?
It's not quads.
Well,
it's not Gibbs.
Okay. Now we're all eagerly. If you weren't eagerly listening once he said 4, the anticipation. Can you hear that? That is. I mean.
Did you hear the pin drop?
I heard it. It's already dropped. It's deafening. We're listening.
Bijan Robinson.
Mike, that's got to be tough for you to admit.
It is. It is. It hurts, and people fucking hate me. Right now, Bijan Robinson's RB20 in WARP.
To tell you the truth, I love you. People, regardless 20. Of Bijan's take, they're going to hate you. They
20.
Hate you.
20.
I mean.
20. He's playing like shit. This offense looks like shit. Adam
the
is
injury,
running back
the
position,
injury,
so I'm still with these like couple-year windows.
It looked like the injury, or last week did not look to be 100% at all.
Looked terrible. Listen, running back production, what's the difference between the two right now? One of them, Kenneth Walker, is dominating, especially if you just want to look at WARP per game. It's not even a fucking question. One of them's in a really good offense. The other one's in a very questionable offense.
Cheeks.
Trip my handhold on this one. He doesn't look good at all. Like he is kind of like the Patrick Mahomes of running backs, where you get those 1 to 2 highlight plays, and you're like, man, only that guy can do it. But the substance as a whole just isn't fucking there. It's not.
I will say, definitely a certain. You'd be lying to yourself, I think, if you say it's not concerning. Like, period. Okay. I'm also in a way like, I think this entire Falcons offense looks to be, for the most part, outside. They've had their little moments. The whole thing does not look like it's gelling all that well, personally. It's had its moments of really gross too.
Who's the best player on the Falcons offense right now? Skill guy.
I mean, like, for fantasy purposes, not even close. It's Drake London, I think. But like at the same time, you got all these you got these idiot wide receivers. You got
the crazy
Darnell
thing,
Mooney. I mean, I don't know.
Mooney. It's Darnell Mooney, and then it might be Ray McLeod.
Right, Mike. I picked up Ray McLeod in a redraft league for free because it didn't cost me anything, and I'm like, fuck it. It's the bipocalypse. I may have to fire him up. That's just the point I'm making. Is that if it gets too crazy with Bijan hate, Mike, I think I might be willing to.
But it's not. Keep trade cuts RB1.
It's certainly not reflection. It's not even close to this point yet. I'm saying I think the hate on a player with that much name cachet, because here's the thing. When you go to keep trade cut, right, a lot of people I think that start reacting, they're like, they don't understand. Most people that haven't watched Bijan play have not seen what you're talking about. So when they get push come to shove in front of their face, Bijan, they're not even thinking about not hitting the keep button on him. So I think this is a little bit fugazi. If it starts to get too low in the market, I'd probably push back. But right now, Mike, Kenneth Walker ahead of him is spicy, but at the same time, I don't even know. I think the problem with the running back window is it's too short to play this fuck around game.
And I would probably fall over myself, because you can trade Bijan for Kenneth Walker and get a pretty substantial plus.
All right, let's
right
before we lose every chance we've ever had to have a fun night, Mike, let's completely pivot here. That's where I'm at. I want to see. Okay. Let's get. Kenneth Walker, Bijan was certainly not where people were expecting to have their evening. So let's everyone out there saying, Mike, I had to make sure King Henry was a little bit obnoxiously big in the phases. This is the same fucking this guy running downhill. You see that? That looks like something I want to get out of the way of. And
I'm making business decisions right now, just sitting in my office.
Business decisions have been made all over the place this year, Mike. If you don't love while we're doing recap, an 87-yard opening run for Derrick Henry to the crib. Can we put the fucking stupid shit to bed? I mean,
what more do you want from this guy? I
do think at this point, like, you kind of been your face has been put in the shit. People have come around to that. He's not washed. My question to you is, in Dynasty, I think it's probably this is a perfect polarizing conversation in Dynasty. But before Mike ruins the show with just not that I'm not telling you can't have the take, but Mike, people aren't ready for that type of thing yet. Okay, it's
okay.
You want to talk about polarizing though? A 30-plus-year-old running back that everyone is waiting for the moment in which he becomes dead and washed. I might have been ready for this since 2022. I'll come out and say I was a little ahead of the curve here. Oh, yeah, I've switched though, buddy. I've switched my voting status. I'm in now. All right, I'm as in as you could be on Derrick Henry. And I guess the question is, in Dynasty, where we're playing for the long haul, but we're having a short-term game too. This is as polarizing as it gets right now. Where do you put Derrick Henry?
Ooh, running back ranks wise. Here's a great thing. We've had this resurgence of running backs, Adam, where it's like, I mean, they're dominating war.
They're dominating. You know what's so funny? Is I feel like people kind of they forget about something, Mike, to that point. Now, the receiver call, okay, great as it's been. Okay, the receivers are certainly warp-wise, and they have the value. Fine. There's only 4 positions in fantasy football, Mike. You cannot hate them all. Someone has to be a winner, and while amidst losers. So, if you want to kill the quarterback position, someone probably is going to rise up. And I can tell you it's not going to be the tight end position. That position is actually dead. So
Dead.
it's anyway, yeah.
Derrick Henry, dynasty rank, running back position where, listen, age just really doesn't matter. Production's about all the thing that matters at this point.
I am a choo-choo train, Chris. Yeah. Coming right for it.
Derrick Henry. The crazy thing is there's another old guy, he's not on the screen, who's about the same age, who's also dominating right now. And these two should be back-to-back. There are back-to-back on Keep Trade Cut ranks, but they should be a lot higher. Adam, I'll say that both of those guys should probably be 7 and 8.
One thing for me for sure at this point is there is a Mike, when I say this, I cannot echo this strongly enough. There is absolutely no fucking reason in the world in which Christian McCaffrey at this point should be ahead of Derrick Henry.
Nope.
Because right now with Christian McCaffrey, he is 2 years younger. But Mike, I'm telling you right now, I know next week that Derrick Henry, barring something horrible during practices, is suiting up and looking like a goat at the running back position right now. Christian McCaffrey, the one thing I do know, Mike, is that we have a problem in 2 Achilles tendons, and that we may not see him this entire season is an actual possibility. I'm not going to say it's definite, but like there's a possibility that we don't see him this year. I have no idea when we do see him, if we do. Why would we be valuing in a short-term ass value position Christian McCaffrey's whenever versus Derrick Henry playing right now like this?
Dominating. Putting wins.
The last 2 weeks, Mike, Derrick Henry's dominance has been so high that a lot of warp I was already reflecting through 4 weeks, Derrick Henry at 1, ahead of Saquon, who's been like the fucking man. So I don't know. To me, he's got to be, where do you say, 7 and 8?
I think 7 and 8. I'll put him over Achane easily. Put him over Kyron, James Cook, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Brooks, Isaiah Pacheco. No question.
Pacheco, like some of these. The Achane one to me, like, is a, if I'm taking trades off the table, it's not even remotely close. The only thing about this Achane one is there still like this a lower type trade value, or basically if I have Achane, am I better off trying to actually trade him for 3 pieces parts than taking on Derrick Henry? To your point though, if you can't do that, I don't like rest of the season without knowing what's going on in Miami. I want Derrick Henry over Achane for sure, and that switch happened pretty quickly. I had both of them in redraft, and it was like, oh man, hopefully I get more Henry weeks where he gets the script. Achane is getting scary, buddy. I will admit though, Sweat, buddy, I don't know if you saw this, Sweat in that game, holy fuck, that guy is a problem. Devondre Sweat, I mean, dude, he is not just eating people alive inside. Like, those are 2 fast-ass backs trying to get to the outside in these zone reads. Buddy, they're not getting outside before this guy gets to them. That is a problem in Tennessee. If you have not seen this, I urge you to go check out defensive tackle Sweat is a man for Tennessee. He was a problem on that Miami run game to hell. It was awesome to watch, honestly.
I'm watching that Sweat play, right? And it's like everything I wanted Jordan Davis of the Eagles to be.
Yep, there you go.
Just hasn't been. That's what I thought. I thought I was getting that with Jordan Davis. Instead, I get somebody who's just as inefficient as Bryce Huff.
It's just crazy, though, because when you watch him, like, no matter what type of technique he's taking, lining up in front of these O-linemen, like, you can kind of just tell before any movements happen, yeah, that guy might be in a world of trouble already. Just like in the trenches, just man for man, pound for pound. Like, but no one's thinking this guy 370 or whatever he is going to run sideline to sideline with actual elite athletes. It's that dude is impressive as fuck. I can't understand that.
Is there anything more scary than a defensive tackle combination of Devondre Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons? Just to switch to the IDP world? Like that?
They're on the defensive side of the ball, no, but if there was an equivalent, it would be this right here. This guy running down full head of steam, upright, already going full go.
The equivalent is in the pistol, Lamar Jackson showing read option to Derrick Henry as he's coming downhill.
There you go.
Full steam. Now you got to make some business decisions here. Do I stay out on Lamar? Do I get the fuck out of the way of Derrick Henry? I don't know what to do here. I'm shitting my pants.
How do I handle this?
This is fucking terrible.
I mean, you're not wrong. Let's talk a little. Let's get really polarizing here. Not quite as big as Henry, but absolutely much more monumental. Outside of Nick Sirianni deciding that 10 touches makes sense when we have a barrage of injuries last week. Let's hope that the outcome was a good thing for the future outcomes of touches.
That terrible taste in.
Hey, dumbass, do this. I pray you do this again. It'll be the last time you set foot in this building. That's the type of feelings I want for him. You know.
He already has that amongst Philly fans. I mean, Corey, if he's still alive, can emphasize that if Nick Sirianni doesn't turn this shit around in the second half of the season, specifically after the bye, we come after the bye and we still look like we did before the bye. This dude's not leaving Philadelphia with a job.
Mike, yeah. I'm going to tell you this right now. People aren't going to want to hear this. I tell you plenty of things you don't want to hear. I'm right. I'm wrong on so many things anyway. I'm going to tell you what I'm just going to be right about. My running back 1 in Dynasty.
Hey, all right, fuck it. I'm in.
Was my running back 1 in Dynasty? I think I said this I think I said this not confirming that he was my running back 1. I said, why wouldn't he be? Kind of asking the question, why are we afraid to make this jump, right? Mm. And I before, it's dude, it's Bijan Robinson and Breece Hall. These are him running backs as well that are younger. All right, I kind of get it a little bit. There's if you're telling me they have similar range of outcomes and points and dominance, and it's 22 versus 27, I mean, of course, yeah, that's a little bit. Mike, though, here's the thing. Right now, in this, what I'm watching, the games I'm watching, Saquon Barkley is the one running back that is clearly – the Will Shipley thing, you could just forget about it, buddy. There's only one path to this Clemson Devy exciting player for you guys having any type of life, and that's a serious season ender to this guy. He's still in a class by himself. What was that?
You probably need one to Kenneth Gainwell too, because we just won't get rid of this fucking turd.
Yeah, at that point, you just don't want anyone to back. It's all bad.
None.
But Barkley, though, Mike, to me, Derrick Henry is going to still have some absolute monster games. I think you're still seeing, though, that Justice Hill plays a decent amount. There's going to be some games also where he's not going to have 35. He's going to have that 12 to 14. I'm not saying Barkley's locked into 30 points a game either, but Barkley's role is locked into giving him a chance outside of Nick Sirianni being a dumbass to seriously get 20, 30 points weekly.
And it was nice to see Henry break off that big long run. It
100%.
Really was.
100%.
Right. But if you're comparing the two, Saquon Barkley is a threat for that every single fucking touch, and Derrick Henry has to have a few things go right for him to do that.
Saquon, and amidst those 10 touches, Mike, gave you another 59-yarder last week. So, I mean,
and then never got the ball again, because that's a pretty good idea.
I guess what I'm saying right now is 3-down workload plus elite upside on every single week basis is, I think, right now, to me, in my personal estimation, it's Saquon by himself right now.
I couldn't argue it. I think for me,
I'm playing at this position, Mike. I want to capture Warp at, because the dynasty value, even if it comes around, I'm not waiting on that. I want to capture Warp.
The only one I would put in the conversation for RB1 with Saquon Barkley, from a dynasty perspective, Adam, is Jahmyr Gibbs.
Interesting. People are not wanting to hear that. Not expecting to hear that.
Sorry. Here we are in 2024, and I'm declaring Jahmyr Gibbs better than Bijan Robinson.
Would you up tier to Saquon if you have Kamara or Henry? Honestly,
that is the thing.
I think I'm probably not, though.
I'm not touching it.
I mean, okay, let me say this. I would do it. I would do it if it's cheap. Yeah. If you're telling me even in a second vibe, I don't know if I want to send a liquid second, but if you're telling me there's a second type player vibe I can send or something like that, If it's cheap enough in a lineup, shallow lineup league, maybe
So
I would do
it. I made a trade today or yesterday with Skeletor. I'm a rebuilding team or whatever. He sent me a second for Dontavian Wicks. Like, what if it cost you a Wicks? Wicks is kind of like the hot name coming up, definitely probably in the conversation of a second-round pick right now. What if it was a Wicks in a lineup league? Like, how comfortable are you actually starting a Wicks, and would you rather just go from a Henry or Kamara to
Can I tell you?
Saquon for
I'm going to tell you
cost?
the way I play, the way I like to assess things and do it. This answer is not going to be what people want to hear or think probably to hear. Like, to me, that's going to depend on how the market of my league is. If in that market that I'm playing in, Mike, a guy like Dontavian Wicks at the right time allows me to go get players I shouldn't get, or gets me to a package of a conversation to an elite type of value in Dynasty, Mike, I'm not giving you that type of player in a trade to go up tier to Saquon from Henry, because I think there's definitely a gap there. But that basically gives me all that flexibility and upside to at the right time move goes away. Dontavian Wicks is another week away. If you're telling me the market's great on a player like that, potentially, another week away from getting to fucking la-la land, buddy. I mean,
True.
right? But I've been in plenty of leagues too, Mike, where the market on that type of player, his production could come and go. He could have 6 weeks in a row of production, and that player isn't traded for fuck all. All right, maybe here if it's lineup start 9, start 10, yeah, I might just go ahead and here. I'll let you have Dontavian. Like, let me see if I can get this Saquon one time just glory road, you know?
Hey, I like it.
But that's honestly my answer. It's a lot based on what I can do with that type of an asset at the right time.
Just in general, though, Trip, I'm probably not exploring too many of these ones. I'm just riding out, the fact that I got RB2 or RB3.
Because the reason I say that, too, is like a Kamara and Henry, to me, are not pieces on a contender I really ever want to trade away. Like, they're just those. You're talking about RB7 and RB8, Mike. I don't think they have a shot in fucking hell to get there on Keep Trade Cut this year, no matter what they do, right? Like,
so one of the crazy things, since we're on this like old running back train, we're talking about him, right? We talked about Henry. I brought up Kamara. You brought up Saquon. Put him up here. The one old running back that's producing too, that's getting none of this love on Keep Trade Cut, like Henry, Kamara, Saquon.
Go ahead and do it, man. Go ahead and do it.
The fucking sombrero, Aaron Jones, baby.
Nah,
like,
he's
nobody is talking about what Aaron Jones is fucking doing.
Well, because people are ready to take the Braylon Allen hype train, and they'd rather have him 1-for-1. Mike, 6 times that specific trade, 6 times in 5 days.
Oh my God.
I mean, listen, I know it's Aaron Jones. I think is the thing is obviously the what people thought about the situation relative to what it is. What they think of the player, all those narratives, Mike, are just so clearly, very, very, very clearly, like leaps and bounds in people's minds from today. It's obvious by his market, by how people don't care. They just don't.
Aaron Jones out here, like being valued as like a second-round pick, right?
Maybe.
In reality, Aaron Jones should be a first.
Yeah, I mean,
I said it.
I mean, I'm kind of curious for you at this point. Like, where would you put him? Let's be real. Let's go ahead and unveil this to people, because I think the conversation for running back values, where they are in Dynasty and where we're looking at them right now, I don't think people are quite hearing where we're probably going to be, if I'm keeping it real. I'm about to do some serious updates in my rankings, and I'm getting ready to treat the running back position as short-sighted as I ever have.
RB10.
That I knew you were going to be crazy aggressive. I would have not guessed this high, but RB10. Give the people the easier way is give the people guys behind Aaron Jones that there's no way they're going to be ready to hear. Okay. That's high for me, even if I'm being honest. But I'm here. I want to hear these names. We could think about it.
Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Brooks, Isaiah Pacheco.
With Pacheco's injury, I mean, I think that's not even hot takey.
Travis Etienne's doo-doo. David Montgomery, Josh Jacobs, Bucky Irving, Jordan Mason, Braylon Allen, Joe Mixon. Those are all the dudes ahead of him that I.
There was 2 names there I think there's probably plenty of names you mentioned there that people might get crazy about. Two names in particular, though, that I think people are going to have some pushback: David Montgomery and Jordan Mason. Well, Jonathan Brooks too, but that's a different conversation. He's not playing. Those two in particular for you. Give more context to Montgomery, who's been balling. Good. He's been fucking balling. Dude, that play he had and then Black Unis. Yep. Oh my gosh, ridiculous, bro.
Tell me a better color combination on the year so far than that.
You won't.
That was drippy.
Those are. They knew what they were doing too. Like waiting a few weeks to put those on prime time.
All that said, David Montgomery is playing out of his fucking mind, right? Like I love what I see from Monty, and it's great, man. I was on that podcast with Seth Dywald, and he's talking about Monty being the most underrated running back.
Sure.
Just we always shit on him. I shit on him in the past. He's playing great. He's played the same number of games as Aaron Jones, though, and Aaron Jones has a 10th more warp. Right? So. You want to say, Mike, why do you rank him above him? Well, because in actual production, he's actually above David Montgomery. And there's not that competition, right? Ty Chandler is not Jahmyr fucking Gibbs at all. So sometimes Monty kind of goes away a little bit sometimes, and Jahmyr Gibbs takes the show. I'd never have to worry about that with Aaron Jones. Like, Ty Chandler is just a kind of a dude we like, but
people, I made him extra. Dude. I made him a little bit extra large here relative to the other figures, because I don't think anyone, including myself, was ready for Mike to go top 10 Aaron Jones. Let's get to it. Ooh, wow, spicy.
It's probably easier to say like the dudes that I have a hard time putting him over. Jonathan Taylor, I'm still a big believer in. Kyren Williams has just been shitting on all my bad Kyren Williams takes this offseason.
Nah, Kyren Williams is looking like him.
James Cook has had some really incredible moments, so that one's a really tough one. And then obviously Bijan's and Achan's dynasty value makes it very tough to put them.
I'll tell you this. Jordan Mason is still going to be, to me, he's now becoming, with CMC's uncertainty, maybe the most difficult dynasty asset to ever consider thinking about. Like, there's still every bit of my being and my bones that wants nothing to do with Jordan Mason, frankly. Like, just
yes.
That is 100%. Like, that'll be probably every single week, Mike, for me and Jordan Mason. That's going to be the way in which I approach it, feeling-wise, my bias. That said, like, here's the thing. For him in this offense, with no CMC, an injury is the only thing that's going to stop him from being a producer to leaps and bounds beyond what the fuck we care about, what his value is in Dynasty. And every single week it's going to become harder and harder to figure out what the hell to do with him, because the other thing is too, I didn't expect at all, and I knew it was very clear people were making a very strong case that Jordan Mason is the second running back. No debates. I didn't even care about that, because it's like no one is going to take the bulk of the touches even in that scenario. Mm-hmm. He's doing that, and no one else is getting run enough to even find out if they're good. It's his backfield. Right. It's crazy. I know it's only 4 weeks, so that's the one thing is like, all right, 4 weeks in this system. By the time week 7 or 8 comes around, you could be looking at injuries, not necessarily looking as efficient, but he is, for dynasty terms, because of his massive weekly upside, is getting tough to really evaluate for me personally.
Yeah. He's getting there, man. He's getting there. And then you kind of factor into if this CMC thing is like the end of CMC as we know it in San Francisco. Like, and they just kind of end up moving on or cutting bait or whatever the case may be. Maybe he's that injured that he doesn't play again, which I don't think is likely. But let's live in that world. It's also hard for me to live in a world where they don't see what Jordan Mason's been doing for him and bring him back into the same offense. So even that kind of argument I'd have about, well, Jordan Mason, if you put him in Denver's scheme, would look fucking terrible. Like, he's just not that talented.
Why do I give a fuck?
He's actually going to be. Yeah, exactly. We got to live in a world where he's actually.
Sure. But I also could give a fuck less what Jordan Mason's value in Dynasty is, because of what I just told you about how short term I'm thinking about it.
Because what you're getting this year, who gives a shit?
My Jordan Mason Dynasty value, Mike, is starting to become, every week that passes by, less and less of a Dynasty take, and more about I'm playing Dynasty in a short term window.
That's one of those things, like, if you look at total AWARP for the running back position. I'm just using a super vanilla league that Maddie and I created for our video, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Mason doesn't show up on the first page, right?
Yeah.
You gotta go down some pages to see Jordan Mason. But here's the thing: you go to WARP per game because nobody was really starting him week 1 because we didn't know until like fucking 5 seconds before the game that Christian McCaffrey wasn't playing, right? So he wasn't going to hit that A-WARP threshold. You look in WARP per game, and Jordan Mason is clear number 8 at the running back position. Ahead of Jonathan Taylor and David Montgomery, and just behind the guy that I just glowed about, Aaron Jones.
Good. I mean, he's been – and here's the thing. You can think whatever you want about Jordan Mason. I don't care what you think about him personally, because the reality is I have seen, and if you haven't, the only reason you have not seen this is you just haven't been watching or paying attention or care not to. We've seen fucking talentless backs in this backfield. I say that I'm not trying to be a dick about it. Guys that that are not actually very talented be immensely useful in fantasy in this system.
Just quickly, I think a guy that we need to mention, but I'm more apprehensive on him because the injury is kind of what I thought it was going to be.
All right, then we'll have to get back to this comment. Dynasty Alex says to sell DK shares ASAP. I'm going to pump the brakes on that, but we'll get back to this.
Just quickly on one more running back.
Okay, go ahead. What do you got? Go ahead. What do you got?
That people don't like. Joe Mixon. The first 2 games were phenomenal. The injury is what concerns me because 100%. They tried to pass it off as like this won't be anything, and now we've not seen him for 2 weeks. This was clearly a fucking high ankle if there ever was a high ankle.
It was never not a high ankle. It was never not a high ankle. I had this conversation just today with Andrew. I have him at 19 in my redraft ranks. He has him at 10, and the big difference there is like, yes, the matchup and what I think that based on how Cam Akers looked, this offense needs a running game in a horrible way. Like they need Joe Mixon to be back, and he is back. But Joe Mixon's leg and ankle at this age and this stage in his career is what I think is going to be a problem. The biggest problem potentially.
We've seen time after time after time running backs with these high ankle injuries just go on to be very pedestrian and mediocre for the rest of the season. Sure. Like it has. Austin Eckler, the great Saquon Barkley, you remember that one? He had that high ankle, then he was terrible. Alvin Kamara, a guy we talked glowingly about earlier. That's the thing holding me back is because like I've been burned by this before. You know, like, oh, well, the team said he's healthy enough, and now he's back. These fucking high ankle injuries for running backs. Rough look, man. Rough look. So that's what's really keeping me more down on Joe Mixon. If he didn't have it fucking at him, though, he'd be in this conversation like, how high you got Joe Mixon? Like,
buddy, but here's the thing.
RB8, he was so fucking good those first 2 weeks.
No, but here's the reality, right? Like, think about all the guys you mentioned that Aaron Jones, same draft class, right? I mean, we just talked about a lot. Because if Joe Mixon didn't miss this time, I can tell you what was happening in his last 2 weeks. Matchup or not, Joe Mixon's putting points on the board to let you know that he's in the same conversation as those other people. Because he was playing that way before. There's a difference.
The year of the old running backs and Kenneth Walker.
Dude.
And Kenneth Walker. Yeah. But by running back standards, Kenneth Walker's old and we hate him.
Well, all right. Well, let's not make everyone feel old as fuck. He's not old, but you hate him, okay? I'll give you that part. You're not wrong. I apparently hate him too. Let's go to this.
DK Metcalf.
Right. Dynasty Alex. I'm starting questions. We're going to get to some. We've already gone so long that we probably won't get to all of them, to tell you the truth. But we'll get to some of your questions. DK Metcalf, Mike, to me, you and I have been Team DK. You guys are just being a little bit ridiculous with the value of him being boring. I don't understand, I guess, truthfully, why sell all your DK shares ASAP other than because he's done well. So obviously there's a price inflation. But here's my reality. I personally believe. I don't think this type of a receiver has gone because of his age. You talk about the age thing. The wide receiver game is played in a totally different market than the running back is. Even if you get aggressive at running back like we did, the wide receiver game is not played this way, Mike. And receivers of DK Metcalf's tenure, age, they just don't get the inflation that ever like Malik did, like Malik will, like even Jefferson or Chase, guys that are a year or two younger. DK's, I think his dynasty value becomes a little more solidified, which to me means I'm a lot more willing to hang on to the production because it's going to take a lot for him to get into otherworldly territory at that type of a the way that his value in Dynasty is going to shift at this point. My personal opinion.
Yep. I'm with you. It's one of the few ones, though, when I go to keep trade cut and I see he's up to wide receiver 11. I have a hard time moving him up any higher.
I wouldn't put him at 11.
I will make the caveat that Garrett Wilson should be below him.
Absolutely.
I'll make the caveat that A.J. Brown should be below him. And I will say this, Puka Nacua should be below him.
Can I tell you the truth? I'm looking at this. Okay? I'm gonna push back even more.
Okay. Who else you got?
No, I'm looking at every name that right now Keep Trade Cut has below him. I don't know that they're wrong. Maybe Rome. Rome might be the person, Mike, because I believe in that profile and that type of a thing.
I give
every
you
other person, I'm not doing it. Nah.
I give you two more. that I have
Two
debates
more?
with.
Two more.
Two more.
Okay, debates is one thing. Putting ahead is a different conversation.
For wide receiver dynasty rankings, and Adam, you touched on this. We're in a very different realm of conversation when we talk about dynasty ranks. I saw the question come in too, like how much does tradability factor into your dynasty ranks?
Massively.
At the running back position, not as much. All right, but at the wide receiver position, age and tradability, big fucking
running back.
Big,
it does come in, which is why like Bijan to me, right or wrong, like. But the point is, running backs in general are 10 million times harder, at least right now, to trade than wide receivers. So go ahead, though, yeah.
Two names on top of Rome Odunze, because I do agree with you. That would be a struggle for me back and forth.
Yeah, I would put Rome ahead in my ranks, personally.
Brian Thomas Jr.
I'm not there yet.
And Devontae Smith.
To me, okay, Devontae Smith to me is now like, I'm having the same conversation. I think they're a same tier to me, right?
There you go.
I'll lean DK in this new offense because of the fact that I think what DK has shown, at least so far, is in this fucking pass happy offense that's great looking. He's the one that's going to be certain. Like, he looks to be the certain guy. JSN up and down with targets, but certainly has his, I think, boom weeks to be had. Yep. I think a lot of people will feast in this offense at times. DK looks as stable as could be, so I'll lean him, same tier. Brian Thomas Jr. is very interesting. I'll be honest with you. That one, to me, comes down a lot more to probably what my market says. I would take Brian Thomas Jr. ahead, Mike, because I think Brian Thomas Jr. still is to be traded for a haul. He's in this range. I still put in money moves where, like, it is to me, his dynasty value very, very crazy once we get to like wide receiver. This conversation, 12, 14. I like his talent. I really do. I just feel like this is a little bit early. Talent. Yeah.
If you told me though that coming into the season, Brian Thomas Jr. through 4 weeks was going to be the wide receiver 13 in WARP in most of your leagues, I would have told you you're a fucking idiot, and that's never going to happen.
What say you though? What say you though?
With Trevor Lawrence playing like a fucking turd burger.
Well, that's not going to fit. That's not going to magically change. What my problem is, my uncertainty. Let me say, I don't actually have a true problem. My uncertainty is when this fucking guy limps back named Evan Ingram. Do we have a target problem again? When we get when we get Limpy Ingram out there, like, because Brian Thomas right now these last 2 weeks, Mike, is starting to be different than the first 2 weeks where, oh shit, like. Alpha targets come to that type of a profile. He to me had more holes than did Rome and Malik and did Marv, but all the upside, the dripping upside like DK drip it was all there. So my biggest concern with him is he going to be the alpha in this offense when there's another body to feed? Like if he ends up even staying at 7-ish targets a game. Go to the moon. Fuck it. I'm in.
Go to the moon. Those are the only two I'll put in there. Can I give one wild card too?
I mean, you can. I'll probably push back pretty hard though.
Since Sunday, like I've had these thoughts, these intrusive thoughts at work. Adam, just thinking about Dynasty.
Well, I know some of your intrusive thoughts at work, so now I'm scared.
Jayden Reed.
Okay. Well, the next person I was getting to is Jayden Reed. Jayden Reed, Mike. Did Jordan love Jayden Reed? Jordan Love, Jayden Reed. Dude, we got 2 weeks right now of the Jordan Love, Jayden Reed thing, and the week one was always going to be weird before he ended up getting hurt because that field was on some fucking just what the hell was that, right?
And
a guy like Jayden
secondary.
And a guy like Jayden Reed is just going to have people on skates
Slade.
regardless.
Darius Slade would rather do fucking podcasts with Cowboys players than fucking, cover wide receivers. So that's fun.
Here he is. I mean, I'll tell you in my redraft ranks, I got him at something like absolutely outrageous at like 8. Yeah, he's up there. I mean, what do we need? When my biggest thing with him was not the talent, and I said this where it's hard for me to evaluate him is like, is he going to actually be the alpha as far as snaps and targets and consistency?
It is.
If that's happening, if the targets are coming, even if his snap share is not going to the moon, I'm fine. I don't care. He's the alpha.
It is not the talent. It is not the production. It's these stupid little metrics I see afterwards where it's like, oh, he only ran 62% of the routes or whatever the fuck it is, and you're like, does that fucking actually mean anything? If the guy goes out and puts up a 30 burger, do I really give a fuck? Do I really? I mean, how many dudes are out there running 100% of the routes that give you like 4 fantasy points? Does that fucking actually mean anything? Like, I'm sure fucking Michael Wilson's on the field all the time. Is he fucking doing anything?
This question, you didn't have Puka below DK, did you?
Yes, I did.
I didn't hear that part, so okay. Interesting.
There you go. Wow. I did say it.
You got Puka behind DK?
I do.
Not doing that. Of the people, so the only person, is he the only person ranked ahead of? Oh, no, you said Garrett Wilson and Puka. Those are the two ranked ahead of him you pushed down?
Yeah, I think everybody's probably on that Garrett Wilson thing.
The Garrett Wilson thing.
Like we good.
We
good on Garrett Wilson, right? Like we're done.
I'm in the crazy panic. I might be more interested, but to this conversation, no. Did he DK or Garrett Wilson? Fuck no. Like the panic, I think, is about to get to extreme, absurd heights, Mike. Because you just open your phone. And if you're someone that pays attention to fantasy football, all you're going to see are thumbnails of panic and sell. And, like, we're talking about that the asset is dead. Now, I certainly want to be out of all my Garrett Wilsons. I wish I was. But if we're going to 0-0, like, panic sell, like, I think is going to happen. But that puts him, like, to, I don't know, outside of top 20. Like, he's getting – there's no conversation for me in the top 10, top 12, top 15. What are we doing anymore? Like, I'm not going to act like he still couldn't have better days ahead. But fool me 3 times, shame on who? I don't know. Isn't it fool me once? The whole adage. How many times until who we fool? Who's it blame now?
The only one. Like
Jayden Reed to me is still not ahead of DK, but Mike, I get you. I think Jayden Reed is going to have Jayden Reed with a couple more weeks is going to have some of this Rashee Rice, Nico Collins type vibes to have conversations with.
Well, there you go. I can get behind that one. When you said Garrett Wilson in top 20, I'm looking at it and I'm going like, who could I have a conversation with? And the only one I can is just the guy who we're questioning if his knee's shredded or not. You know what I mean? Like,
Rashee, yeah.
Yeah, like that's it. And not because I don't think Rashee Rice is fucking good, but it's like, would I rather have Garrett Wilson and whatever the fuck he's doing?
I don't know dude
who's not playing.
I don't know what to make of a lot of this stuff in today's world. I feel more and more like a fish out of water as I walk around in this day in humanity. But he's up 19 spots. Like, what even if his ACL is intact, Mike, he's hurt. He's up 19 spots, which for the record, that's on par with Nico Collins, Brian Thomas Jr. That's up more than DK is. Jayden Reed's up 40 spots, Mike. Like, Malik Nabers is up 18 spots. Rashee Rice is up 19 spots. Like, who are these? Who are your friends, Mike? Who can you introduce these? I want to play in fantasy football, dynasty football leagues with these people.
Maybe they know. Maybe they know something we don't.
Stop it! Don't stop it. What do we do? How does this happen? Who are these human beings? Are these real? Like, what kind of bots are we talking about?
They got a prayer circle. with a bunch of candles and stuff.
Like I can't do it. I'm not even playing. I can't play even. Okay, I'm not doing. I have a question for you. Okay, a question for you right now. Quarterbacks for me. I was very clear recently on multiple pieces of content. There is not an exception. Okay, tight end position, Mike. There's no exception to the rule. They all go very clearly.
Every one of them.
Quarterback position. There is no exception to the rule because the rule is that it's Konami code or not. It's not an exception. It's not an exception. The quarterbacks accept the Konami code. It's those guys are bust. Mike, I mean, as I said it, Justin Fields. By the time you saw my take, he already balled, so you probably don't take a lot of the take as serious. But I was very adamant that this Fields thing, given the Pittsburgh offense, they're not going to have a losing Fields is going to have to do something detrimental on his own to get out of the lineup.
It's funny that you brought that up today because I literally laughed out loud on a sleeper notification today at work where my boss asked me, "What the fuck are you laughing at?" And I said, "Oh, well, this is going to be hard for me to explain to you because I'm a fucking Dynasty football nerd. But the sleeper notification that came through on my phone audible today was that the Steelers are preparing for Justin Fields to start this week while Russell Wilson still rehabs." So I laughed out loud like, no fucking shit. Like, their fucking quarterback for this year is preparing to start the next game? No way.
Yeah.
Who would have fucking guessed?
Because Russell Wilson could be the starter when he's ready to finally go. By the way, that's assuming, Mike, that I know people get older. It's harder to come back from injuries. A guy that he tried to play through, Mike. It's a guy, you got to remember, Russell Wilson tried to and ended up playing through. Remember that fucked up finger he had on his throwing hand? Like, there was like a month or two where every ball that came out of his hand looked like a quacker. Like, you're telling me that you're telling me Russell Wilson right now just can't get out there a month plus in? Come on.
That motherfucker been healthy since week 1.
Anyway,
Mike Tomlin just don't want to let you.
There's no reason we can't live in this fucking alternate reality of we know what the hell's going on and all the fictitious bullshit. All we can do is live in this one, which is Justin Fields every single week has been looking more and more comfortable as a passer. And Money Moves, when I put it out, I try to keep it shorter for the algorithm and stuff. But Mike, before last week, he was number 2 in the NFL in money throws. There was a lot of advanced metrics on Fields already as a passer that people, I think, don't realize were as good as they were. Because, I mean, his raw stats through 3 weeks looked like shit as a passer, right?
And he's doing this with a terrible set of weapons, too, by the way.
And Pickens, yep.
Sorry, terrible set of weapons.
And Pickens. Yes, I'm with you. But I'm with you, though. You're not wrong. And Fat Najee. Everybody hates Najee Harris, and everyone's ready for Warren.
Adams next week,
Stop. All right, stop it. I want to have a somewhat serious conversation, though, because last week, though, unfortunately, it's now gone. I think that moment in time of, like, I don't know, what do you want to call it? What's that? I can't think of the name of it now. There's that moment in time of fucking just stupid la la land. We're going to pretend that this guy is going to get taken the job back by Russell Wilson. His stats weren't very good. He's not meaningful in fantasy. Those days are over based after last week. That door is kind of gone. But at the same time, I still don't think that it's probably pushed up in value to appropriate yet.
We just had a question.
Here we go.
Trade Fields for Herbert. The real question is,
I want Fields.
I want Fields. Herbert Fields.
I don't know. There's a side of this deal I want.
It's not the Herbert side.
I know it's crazy. I know if you have Herbert, I know you probably took Herbert ahead of Mahomes that year, and you're maybe kicking yourself. You can stop kicking yourself. Neither one of them.
Think about this, man. J.J. McCarthy, Jared Goff, Drake May, Baker Mayfield, Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert.
What about
Brock Purdy? All still ranked above Justin Fields.
Well, yeah, I mean, key trade cut, I think, is just one of those two where it's always going to be take a little bit of time before people come around. I guess the question for me, though, Mike, is more so, This conversation right here, Zach, is a little bit more real because, Mike, let me ask you this: an injury happens to Fields, or he. I really don't believe this is coming. The way the positions in which they're putting him and the way he's playing the game, I don't think one of these massive 3 turnover games is coming. But like in this hypothetical world, he goes out there
he did have a bad fumble this last week though.
So I'm not going to say he's not going to have bad plays or bad turnovers here and there. I don't think in a single game though he's going to get, Will Levis type shit where you're like, okay, you have lost this job that you had by the balls. I don't think that's coming. Now, I'm not. He will make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, and he's not, super immune to that. I guess my point, though, Mike, is in a world where the first is different because you are now like hitching your future to him being actually not just this season bet, the quarterback for the Steelers moving forward. That's why, like, for me, it was very easy to make a buy of Fields because you didn't have to put that on the table. Now, clearly, that is going to be a requirement if we're talking trades of rebuilder and Fields to you. That said, where are you on this? Fields as a long-term play as a purchase, I guess.
Buy. Into the question: would I give more than a first down for Justin Fields? Yes.
And I mean, here's the truth, Zach. Like,
you
probably have to, right? You probably have
to. Because it used to only cost like a late second or a 9th, 10th round startup pick. Like that felt great.
I mean, but yeah, yes, it felt amazing. But like, we can't go back. It did feel good. Hopefully, at least
we can't go back.
Hopefully, at least got something. Hopefully, at least got 1 or 2 shares that way. What would you pay? What is? Where do you go? What first and a second?
Justin Herbert straight up.
I'm asking. Let me ask this. Let me ask this because I think right now, Mike, and I know where you stand on this. So I'm not going to go down this road of trying to fight you. I'm not going to go down the road of trying to fight you on every quarterback because if we know where you stand. I want to have a conversation though of Justin Fields. In this quarterback market that is depressed, like period, it just is. As a whole, it's down. Fields to me is one of the quarterbacks because of the Konami code that I would actually be willing to oblige and trade a skill player for. Where in that conversation, 1 for 1, are you comfortable and where are you not? Like Tank Dell or Justin Fields, 12-team Superflex start 10.
Justin Fields,
with you. They're neck and neck on keep trade cut. Mike Evans,
Justin Fields.
I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm just saying that. How about Debo?
Justin Fields.
Whew, let's get crazy. I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm gonna dramatize this every time.
You can tell me what, bro.
Jameson Williams.
Justin Fields.
Mike, Jameson Williams is wide receiver 26 ahead of DJ Moore. For those that want to know.
It was nice that he saved his game with that really.
Xavier Worthy.
Oh, right in the fucking dick. Justin Fields.
Baker Mayfield.
Justin Fields.
George Pickens.
Justin Fields.
Jalen Waddle.
Justin Fields.
JSN.
Justin Fields.
Really? That is a real dude. That is a serious one because JSN is back to in the range of where people said he would never go to, which is like he's a real player now. He's a real receiver now. He's wide receiver 20 on Keith Ray cut at the moment.
He's getting there.
Okay, let's get the nut cutting time. Right. I'm taking one of them. Right here, Tyreek Hill. I'm taking one of them. Left or right, you pick. You only get one.
Tyreek Hill. You finally got me.
No. I wouldn't have actually guessed that Tyreek was the play here for you. Okay.
Tua's coming back. Tua's coming back in like 2 weeks.
Yeah. I've heard about these concussions and timelines, and I don't have any doubt Tua wants to play, will play at some point. The whole certainty of when a player is going to come back off a concussion, of his fourth concussion. To me, at this current stage, I don't think we can actually predict guaranteed. I will say, though, Justin Fields, Tua Tagovailoa is going to play this season. If it's not week 8, it's week 9 or week 10. He's going to play. So, like, I'm with you. I get it. That one there.
Yeah.
I guess the exercise, the point of the exercise, Mike, I know you don't have to go that high. I know you don't. You don't. You don't have to go that high. You don't. I mean, I'm not telling you that you were wrong on any of those. I'm having the conversation right now that this is the conversation that I'm having.
And so Corey's not wrong. In the offseason, I did trade JSN, or I traded Fields for JSN. It was like,
oh, hold up. We got two super chats coming. I'm out here. I'm in this Fields. Because, Mike, here's the reality. Dynasty 39, thank you for the super chat. Jay Jackson, my guy, our guy. We will get to yours, too. The reason I'm willing to go higher than you need to, and the reason I'm willing to secure it is, Mike, in this new world where we talk about Konami code was very important, and those are the guys I'm targeting anyway. I'm pretty serious about this. I'm changing to it's that, or I'm not targeting you. I'm not. You have it or you don't. You get to that real conversation. That list is short as fuck. That list is 7 players now if you include Justin Fields. I'm willing to go pay a little more because that's the only types. Justin Fields in a new offense that he wasn't supposed to start all offseason in week 4, Mike, just destroyed the field. How's that for Fields?
There you go.
I mean, I'm willing to miss, actually. I guess that's the point. If I end up being wrong and swing and miss, this is one of those I think that's worth doing it for in the current landscape. I've got AR-15. Oh, wait, actually, so would you trade Dowdle, Ferguson for Dell and White? If that's Rashad. Zamir or Rashad, they're kind of both terrible, but I guess it kind of matters which one.
Yeah.
I have Bowers. I have AR-15, Geno, Nico, Pittman, Deontay, Achane, Bijan, Bowers, Ladd, Wicks, and Hawk on IR. Well, Bowers, as I told you, needs to go. It's time.
Trade him.
Especially if Hawk comes back. I mean, I don't expect much from Hawk, but I don't expect much from tight ends.
So if this is for
Dowdle
Rashad.
And Ferguson. Mike, I want Tank Dell over anyone on this deal anyway.
Yes, I do. But I'll say this. If it's Dowdle and Ferguson for Dell and Zamir White, I'm good.
Mike, can I tell you the truth? I certainly don't. I will not advocate for trading for Zamir White in Dynasty. Redraft.
It's Rashad, by the way.
If it was Zamir, Mike, I was going to tell you that I don't care because Tank Dell is the prize in this deal.
Okay.
That said, we don't have to worry about it because if it's Rashad, it's not even that close for me. I hate Rashad White at this point. I'm ready to call it. I think I'll still take him over Dowdle. It's a conversation. It's flip. It's still a coin flip, probably. Like,
yeah.
Ferguson or Dell is not a combo.
Well, Zamir White is so bad that when you look at it and you say Dowdle is far and away above.
Sure. I've been this whole Zamir White thing. I was off the train early.
I'm good.
At the same time, though, I also kind of just don't give a fuck about it either. Why is the world still doubting Fields' abilities when the God sent QB1 Caleb is playing just as bad and it's possibly worse than Justin Fields did with more weapons? Maybe it wasn't Fields. Just saying. I think here's the thing, Jay. I think at least right now, again, as much as this pains me to say and talk about, I hate talking about the Steelers, Mike, because as a Browns fan who has nothing good ever come to his team, I can tell you one thing the Steelers and Browns have. Watch how players overall, and they don't miss, or they don't miss, they're not without missing, right? They're going to miss on prospects. They're going to have players that don't do well.
Yeah.
But on percentage basis, it's pretty easy leaning one way or the other in that conversation. Good coaches, good organizations, good teams find a way to do well with the talent they have, and they find a way to also develop the talent they have. In bad organizations, shitty fucking franchises, shitty coaches, shitty organizations find a way to not only do a poor job in progressing and developing the talent, Mike, but they find a way to get impatient along the way and mess everything the fuck up. They get They get different coachings. They get taught different things. They have different systems. They have different core skill players. And then it's their fault when everyone around them was fucked up too, and the whole thing implodes. I think it's a lot to do with the situation that Fields was in Chicago versus now are you can't even describe how different they are.
They are. And Fizz has been on this one for a while. On Friday nights, we talk about this shit. It seems like every episode, is it the player or is it the scheme? Scheme's going to be about 80, 85% of it. And the scheme includes who the coaching staff is, how they develop the player, how they pick them up when they're down, whatever the belief that the player feels like they have in them. And it's no different than everybody here watching. I don't know if we have any billionaires in here, but everybody's probably got a real life fucking job and a boss and somewhere else. But think about when you go to work. If your boss is a fucking asshole or doesn't know anything, it's just definitely this dude's getting fucking fired. Like,
Mike, Rome or DK? Mike, T-Rock, first of all, T-Rock is out here. Tarek, I just want to say this. Silently watching and sending offers. No comments, no nothing, trying to act like I'm not going to eventually open this and read it. Would have been nice to see the comments, so I could have read it 20 minutes ago in the conversation we had. He sent me and Fade the Fetal, Mike. I'm contending, he's contending, certainly trying to. We have very talented teams, but the whole league is trying to contend. It's weird. Rome or Metcalf? Right now, he's putting my nuts on the line as well. I have DK right now. He's sending me Rome, straight up. 1 for 1.
Ooh, he's really testing you. I think I'm holding DK.
God damn it.
I think I'm holding DK. But I was saying, a lot of people, if you got a shitty boss, do you think the dude's going to be out of there soon? Or the dude is never helping you out with anything. It's just a real fucking asshole. How excited are you to go to work? How excited are you to perform your best? You want to be a good person. You want to be a good worker. It's just
you're talking about culture. Straight up, simply culture. If your culture is shitty,
if you got that boss that's out there that's like, hey man, what can I do to make your job easier? What do you need? Oh, you need time off because you got this family thing? Yeah, no problem. Don't worry about it. I got you. It's done.
Yeah.
Say less. Take care of yourself. Take care of your business.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you back here on Monday. Go ahead and cut out early here on Friday. You've been working really hard, man. Take a little time for yourself, that kind of thing. You want to go above and beyond for those kind of fucking people. And it's the same thing with the NFL. And these dudes have jobs and they have bosses, the coaches, who some of them are fucking dog shit and they're fucking assholes. And they perform poorly and they just don't give a fuck. And I wouldn't either. And then you see them. How many examples do we have to have this year alone of players going to different schemes, playing for different coaching staff?
I'm going to give everybody here. I'm going to give everybody here a quiz. You can put them in the comments. They're a little bit delayed from the conversation. Mike, what about the Green Bay Packers? I'm sure you know this. So the Green Bay Packers are different than any other NFL team.
Because they don't have an owner.
Well, they do. But it's literally the conversation you just had. They have a collective group. The city owns the team. So that conversation you had of this fucking dickhead douchebag that ruins the culture it's gone. It's erased. And shockingly, Mike, the smallest town, a market that would never outside of a scenario like this keep a sports team, has a thriving sports team. Thriving. Speaking to the culture point, I felt like it was a very good conversation. If you had, regardless of what the business is and what it's doing and what the X's and O's are for that business.
Yep.
If you have a great leader in place that is a people person and willing to motivate and help invest in the people, Mike, it's a unquantifiable, massive difference in successful organizations, businesses, entities versus ones that are just, even if it is successful, people don't realize there are successful things because of the way certain things are, but they're in their own way. It could be better if everyone didn't come to work pissed off and not wanting to be there and wanted to leave the moment they got in. So
1,000%. You and I have been in that situation, us together.
For sure. That's why I currently right now I'm doing everything I can to see if it's impossible to lose this house and everything involved in it by not having one of those under me. You know, I'm on my own. That said, T-Rock.
Those of you who know, you know.
Yeah, and T-Rock. While I am willing to see this all the way through in chaos, you're gonna have. I'll give you DK for Rome when there's a little. You're gonna have to give me a little nugget though. Okay, we're gonna have to give me the T-Rock pleasure.
Does he not listen to? Because we said like it's a conversation.
All right, fair enough. He says he posted a comment. I didn't see it. Fair enough. Okay, but now put your money where your mouth is.
Birthday too?
Wait, it's your birthday? Okay, maybe Mike. Maybe it was his birthday. Did you get that mixed up, or did him and Corey have the same birthday? That is actually eerie.
Sure. It's definitely Corey's birthday today, and he's definitely passed out drunk.
That is crazy, Mike. We have two of our like. You tell me two of the OG dope shitheads have the same birthday?
T-Rock, are you fucking with me? Because if I find out it's not your birthday,
you will never have another one. Nah, T-Rock. I said I'd put him ahead in my rankings. I didn't say on a contender I would take him straight up for DK. I'll put my money where my mouth is. Just don't, especially while you don't have a microphone, try to twist mine in front of everybody else.
You can catch him every Sunday with a microphone. Start Sit Show.
Ooh. You know what we should do?
Eastern.
You know what we should do? T-Rock is find a way to make this happen, though. And you know what? I know how you work. We'll get this done. I believe in you. I'm willing to put my vote on T-Rock for this, you know. I have confidence. I'll put my vote and faith into his party.
Vote for Rock.
Last thing is it's time to get out of here. I have a team review to do. I have a bunch of team reviews to get done. I have some money moves to try to get done. I'm excited, actually, buddy. Every single week now.
Birthday was yesterday. Corey's birthday is today.
Okay, well, dude. How about the October? How about a Rocktober start? Bang bang. What? Hey, Mike, let's do something. Let's do something for this. Birthday. Let's get something for this set up. Let's get a.
You know who else has an October birthday?
Who? Oh, yeah, of course. Mike, you're out here doing this whole.
Dude, I've been working out. Look at these fucking cannons, bro. Dude, I'm looking fucking. God, I'd fuck me.
Hey, right now, everyone, I need you to do me a favor. Don't be mean. He's looking fucking great. All right, he is looking shredded. All right.
These fucking sleeves ain't big
This is not the time to try and test your luck. I will fucking find you.
I will.
Happy birthday, T-Rock. While I mean that with all sincerity, you ain't getting your birthday gift come early with that 1-for-1 swap. We can make something reasonable happen. Happy birthday, Corey. I didn't even know it was his birthday. I'm actually really glad I sent that text randomly in the morning. Like, fuck, I'm just gonna see. I'm gonna see if I was really trying to see if I want to see if this kid was up and at him. You know, it was like early as hell.
Drunk now, so he doesn't even know that you like fucked it up and didn't even know it was his birthday.
It's the thought that counts. That's the great part about it. I was covered. You know,
you lucked into it.
100%. I rarely luck into anything, but that one, buddy, I did. Last thing I wanted to talk about.
Ewok, Augustus, you guys are the goats.
See, last thing I wanted to discuss, Mike, because I truly believe that with all the hysteria going on, there is. I can't imagine that we're actually living in this world, but I just want to put this out here. I don't. There's no buy low or buy opportunity per se here, but I didn't. Can I tell you just in theory? Theoretically, if you're telling me that Marv was off to the start that he's off to, he's doing enough to solidify being all the talent in the world that he is. Being dwarfed as far as hype. This was the hype train of hype trains. This was the Himothy. What? By two, Mike, not just two players in the same class.
Two rookies.
Dude, remember, Mike, do you remember? I mean, I know we're at week 4 now going into week 5.
Two rookies and one of them is not Rome Dunze.
Try to go back with me a little bit moment in time, okay? I know, go back to the draft season, go back to even the later drafts. I was told, sworn, guaranteed, it's not a conversation. Even if you are wrongly, basically what I was being told, putting Malik Nabers in the talent tier of Marvin Harrison Jr., it's dumb because Marv is guaranteed to smash early. Malik is not. Malik is the one of the three that won't have the ability to do so. That is crazy. Because the reason I say that is because for all accounts, Mike, Marv's off to a fucking great start. There's nothing in my estimation, or at least the way I'm looking at this, as a like we should. There's no knocks on Marv other than this class is just off to a rock star start in general, right?
Let's rewind, man. We're in July, and I tell you, Marvin Harrison through the first 4 games is a top 15 wide receiver in WARP.
He was the 101. You made the correct pick. You did a great job. You just, in the face of adversity, didn't let anything faze you. Stone cold. You made the right decision. Easy 101 layup.
You're a gangster, man. Marv was that dude. You nailed it. Good job, buddy.
All the bullshit. You faded a conjecture season. You did what you knew you should have done. Safe, easy. Right now, Mike, is there a conversation where I'd be curious about this? Everyone here, last thing I'll ask questions for you from. At this point, like it is so late, I can't actually answer questions today. I feel terrible, but we will try to get to some of these. Make sure you ask them later on next week. I want to know from everybody here. Right now, if we were doing a redraft of the class at this very moment, you had a chance to go back in time and do it. Because T-Rock just sent me a trade right now of Rome, the 106 for DK straight up. Obviously, things have changed. No one would have traded the 106 for DK in a fucking in a no way in the world. So now, with this said, is there anyone out there that would still take Marv ahead of in this current landscape right now at this very moment? Is anyone going to take Marv ahead of Jayden or ahead of Malik Nabers? You don't have to. I'm not going to judge you, berate you. I literally just want to know if we were drafting, like how many people are even considering him at 102. That's I think the reason I'm asking this, because Mike, it was basically at 102. That's your last shot. That's your last prayer and hope, right?
Yeah.
Now, is it 10, 20, 30% of people that would even be considering him at 102?
Yeah. I definitely think it'd probably be 10%. Just because there's no reason not to believe in Marv, really. Like he's given us nothing to not believe.
That's
in.
my point. Is I think honestly, I think there's a chance we. I'm sorry. Say it again.
Outside of week 1 with the real idiots, right? Like that, the 16.7 miles per hour and the.
But we
the
put
no
that.
separation.
We safely put that shit to bed, right? That will never be brought up as in a serious manner ever again. Correct.
I hope. And it's not like, I mean, top 15 in WARP as a rookie right out the gates. I think there would be about 10%, Adam, that would still do it. But you'd be foolish if you're not capitalizing on dynasty value by saying that. Listen, I'll put all my priors to bed. These other 2 dudes are just him. They're hims.
I knew that I wanted to wait a little bit because I'm telling you, I'm not convinced that everybody is in lockstep unison on this. Wow. And let me just say this, Mike. I think I would call it 30-40% because there's 2 things, I think. You know, when things start happening really fast around you and you're not necessarily like ready to have those things be real. We have literally both done it in Dynasty and we still currently do it, right? Where it's like, nah, this is too much. No. Even if it is correct, we're not willing to in this moment admit that it's real. So I think there's a small percentage of people that while this is happening with Malik, they don't believe that it's here to stay. I'm not going to act like that's sane, but it's the reality. And I think the other conversation too is, Mike, Jayden Daniels is not only hard, it's impossible to ignore right now what he's doing. And if you are, you're being silly. But I also do think, though, there's a conversation where not that the elite quarterbacks and the Konami quarterbacks aren't different, but people just are like, I'd rather have with where quarterbacks are. There might be some people that just want to take the quarterback, the receiver over the quarterback. I'm not saying that most people would. I'm saying in a small percentage. I think it's maybe more like 30-40%. But I'm just curious, because I think right now what everyone is saying for the most part with the way that there's an aura, Mike. I'll just put that on top of what is undeniable in production. WARP, how they've looked. There's an aura about both of those players that is hard to like quantify. That should be baked in, and that's a part of their dynasty value because you can trade that. People want to see a player performing like Jayden Daniels is under center for a franchise that has fucking been so poor, right? They want to see Malik Nabers, the talent profile of him with Danny Dimes of all fucking people. No one else out there, just balling. You can't you can't have a. There's no like. If you had a Madden player or a college football player on the game, there's no quantifiable number to value that. But that is huge. Like that aura is so real for those guys.
The one thing I was going to say, wasn't there that that like fucking never mind. Jay, just $10 super chat.
Wait, what were you going to say? Go ahead.
Oh no, just the aura, right? Like the kind of phrase like untouchable in Dynasty. Like I'm gonna, like you can't have him for anything. And I was gonna reference back to the trade show on Saturday, right? Like we haven't seen Marvin Harrison Jr. trades, and I'm not saying they don't exist, but we just haven't seen them at him. But do you remember the JCap one with Malik Nabers, where people are, what he says in like the chat, like it's in the screenshot, like goodbye my sweet prince. like you could feel it hurt. It hurt his body, his soul. He was reluctant to trade him for 4 first plus pieces, actual first and players of like. Yes. This is outside of any type of normalcy. Anyone with a brain knows that one of these sides is significantly more than the other. But everyone wants that other side. Whether you know the values right or not on that one side, everybody wants Malik Nabers still. Like that's the aura we're talking about. Yeah. Like you and I both just talked up Saquon and how much we love him and how he's probably RB1 overall conversation. And I'm a fucking Eagles fan. I love Saquon to death. But I don't think if I got a package where it was like 3 firsts for Saquon Barkley, I'm saying in the fucking league chat, like, goodbye, my sweet prince. I'm just quietly going, fuck yeah.
And you know what? This is an underrated point. When your aura and your just like presence is dwarfing, Mike. So like, I'll go to look for really high quality photos. You can go to Getty Images. You go to all these different places. If you look for a player, even high end receivers like a Roma Dunze right now, you might have a hard time finding certain really like photographers are just snapping pictures of them no matter what they are doing on the sideline, warming up. Quarterbacks always have that. You could be a shitty quarterback, and that's the guy you take pictures of. Unless you're Daniel Jones. Because Daniel Jones, to the point here, is he is not. He's the opposite. No one wants to take pictures of him. Nobody wants to see that shit, right? Mike,
so you haven't.
Malik Nabers, the difference is now the Giants not only don't do that for Dimes, they just take pictures of. They take all the pictures you can of Malik Nabers. Just he gets that quarterback attention and value.
We the Savage crew on Thursday Night Football Drunk Fest watch the games and sit in voice chat. We now have a new metric called the dopey face metric. Daniel Jones falls into the dopey face metric, similar to another former Giants quarterback.
I wasn't hip to this, but as you don't have to explain it much to me to know that Daniel Jones is absolutely like. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
We also last Thursday night before the Alabama-Georgia game declared Carson Beck as dopey face king. That's an ugly motherfucker, and he has a ridiculously hot girlfriend.
Well,
so the only thing I can think of is he's got a hammer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and thank you, by the way.
I like Dynasty trades in Marv's hammer.
In Marv's defense, he and Malik were both considered 1A, 1B. You couldn't go wrong with either pick, although I'd sell my house for more Nabers and JD shares. No, I mean, my point really is more so that it's kind of incredible to see a player that had as much hype and aura in his own right of Marv being dwarfed in the moments because of these performances. Sure. Because the last thing I will say, and we need to get out here, but this is a perfect segue, and this is what I planned, okay? Because the people that did this, they have to live with it. They have to. The sphincter, it's up there, buddy. It feels a lot like I would imagine prison feels like. You know.
2 of my later drafts, I did that. Two of my later rookie drafts, I did that. Now 17 other times, I did the right thing.
So here's the thing. The one league I didn't get much Caleb actually. I got a lot more. Like the 101 specifically, I didn't have a ton of, right? Because that typically even if I get someone's pick early, they normally don't get 101, right? And a lot of my teams have been starting to get out of the rebuild phase, right? Go ahead.
I made that comment last year, like on an AMA or whatever. Like when I'm going through and I'm doing all the leagues and I'm assigning picks, I'm like, Adam, you fucking suck at 10.
Yeah, I get a lot. You know what I got? You know what I had a decent amount of was 106, 105. Yeah, but so my point, there was one spot specifically I remember taking Caleb, Mike, and while I would love to have Caleb over at 104, I got Malik. So like, there's a part of it that doesn't feel as stanky. Now, I'm not telling you that when I look at Caleb every time, like, what the fuck? Every time I look at having to play him or Watson, I'm like, you're the one person that could do this. But it hurts, buddy. I mean, it does hurt. But Malik Nabers outperforming a goon squad of receivers. Garrett Wilson is bullshit. DK, name him. It's Malik.
Wild. I still believe in
this one here, Caleb. Listen, I'm not telling you should write him off. He's dead to the world, but like, dude, it hurts. This is there's no way around it, buddy. It's not one of these is not like the other. It's period.
I still believe in him, but I definitely didn't believe in him enough to take him over my king, future Eagle.
But you believing in him doesn't mean that he's anywhere near, and your belief in him is nowhere near the value of those other three.
No,
it's not even remotely. He's a second page. He is safely a second page player on Keep Trade Cut, meaning outside the top 50.
I will buy Caleb Williams because I think people are far too low on him than what they should be. But it doesn't change the fact that I was right on all my Jayden Daniels over Caleb Williams takes, all my draft picks, all the Jayden Daniels. I don't have a fucking Caleb Williams jersey, folks. I got a Jayden Daniels jersey before he ever actually played an NFL game. So eat shit. Eat shit. I'm victory lapping. The one thing I did fuck up, Malik Nabers. My bad.
You know what's good for Caleb Williams, babe? Right. If you lick my butthole, because that shit sucks. We're out of here. We love you. We'll see you back here next week. We will answer your questions then. I'm sorry, but we went 2+ hours. Peace.
Bye. Love y'all.
Ta-ta.